Now, we've been talking about the Dak Prescott situation, Jerry's comments recently, the suggestion from yesterday that CD got his because he held out and Dak's not getting his because he showed up. I think Dak's had enough, as evidenced by some of the things Dak had to say yesterday. Here's Dak Prescott on the ongoing negotiations on a contract that expires this year with no way to keep him from becoming a free agent. Also, his thoughts on Jerry Jones' ongoing comments about Dak's contract.
CD got paid. Are you next?
Not really sure. Not my focus anymore, to be honest with you. Told you guys that really can't say ever was really my focus. It's about making myself and this team better, getting us in the best position and the most confident to go up to Cleveland and start the season off with a win.
You don't need a deal done before the season.
I don't need no.
Would you like it done before the season?
I think it says a lot if it is or if it isn't. But however, doesn't really matter to me, to be honest with you.
What does it say if it isn't?
Just how people feel.
Which people?
I don't know.
How do you?
How do you feel about Jerry said the negotiation isn't about your merit as the Cowboys quarterback, but more about their cap situation? What do you take from that when he says, it's not really about what you're doing?
Yeah, I understand that. That's the business and the nature of this game that we play. I stopped, honestly, listening to things that he says to the media a long time ago. So it doesn't really hold weight with me.
And it shouldn't. And he just says what he says. It's word salad, word salad, word salad. Pay attention to the Cowboys. Pay attention to the Cowboys. Pay attention to the Cowboys. The leverage that Dak has over the Cowboys is exactly the kind of leverage that Jerry Jones parlayed into his multi-billion-dollar fortune. Jerry Jones didn't go easy on people when he had them over a barrel. Dak should not go easy on the Cowboys when he has them over a barrel. I remember Sims interviewing Dak Prescott at the Super Bowl before Dak got his first contract, and Sims every once in a while flashes that, oh, don't be selfish. Oh, there's a salary cap. Oh, you want to win. And he and I have argued about that in the past. It's one of the few things that we fundamentally disagree about, because I think a guy should get paid whatever he can get whenever he can get it, and it's up to the team to balance the salary cap. But Dak gave him the side eye when Chris dared to suggest, you don't seem like a selfish guy. It's not about selfish. It's about getting paid for what you bring to the table. And if the Cowboys aren't going to do it, then he becomes a free agent and someone else will. And the biggest wrinkle here, and this is the one aspect of the story that Jerry would probably not focus on.
Yep.
You take away the franchise tag, you take away their tool to squat on a player for a hell of a lot less than what some other team would pay him. And that tool is gone this time around. And that is what's going to allow Dak Prescott to go wherever he wants. And there's a collusion grievance that went to trial this summer. We'll probably have a ruling by March. If the NFL gets whacked for colluding as it relates to guaranteed contracts for certain players like Lamar Jackson, what happens when Dak Prescott's available? What happens if other teams aren't interested, like other teams weren't interested in Lamar Jackson, and we smell collusion in the air again? These are just things that will play out, and maybe that's the one thing that helps the Cowboys. Maybe none of the other members of Club Oligarch are going to come sniffing around Dak Prescott. I'll believe that, though, when I see it.
Yeah. Yeah, Gary just asked a good question. Is there more pressure on the Cowboys to get this deal done, or Dak betting on himself? And I say it's the Cowboys getting the deal done, because I don't know that Dak Prescott wants to get this deal done. I don't think he should want to get this deal done. I guess if the Cowboys come and put, $60 million per year before him, close to $200 million guaranteed, maybe at that point you go, okay, that's enough. I'll re-sign with the Cowboys. But unless they do that, and I don't think they do that, then I think Dak is definitely betting on himself. He's done that before. It took 2 years of negotiation to get that second contract, and he kept rolling the dice. And guess what? He was coming off the fractured ankle, and they still signed him. So there's not a real great risk here for Dak Prescott. There is a real great risk for the Cowboys to lose Dak Prescott. And maybe deep down, they don't care about that. But Jerry's got to think back to how long it took between Troy Aikman and Tony Romo. Anytime you're going to change a coach or you're going to change a quarterback, you better have a better one in mind that you're going to go get. And I don't know who that guy would be who's going to be better than Dak Prescott that you're going to get to bring onto your team to make them better than what they are and what they've been. And everybody says, oh, well, he's so bad in the postseason, 2-5 in the post. Again, who are you going to get that's better than Dak Prescott? Look at the NFL. Who's been successful? Who's won Super Bowls in the NFL that's currently a quarterback? Patrick Mahomes. So as starters, I know Joe Flacco's won one. We can get into all that. But I'm saying that Patrick Mahomes has pretty much dominated winning Super Bowls. So that's why Lamar Jackson and some of these other guys haven't. But he's got to get them to a championship game where they haven't been since 1995. But I don't know that they have a better option at quarterback to try to do what they haven't done since 1995, Mike.
The best deals I've ever done happened when I truly no longer wanted to do the deal. The best prices I've ever gotten on a car happened when I decided, you know what, if that's the number, I don't want it. And I literally didn't want it. And once they sensed that I no longer wanted it, that's when I got a better deal. And the problem was I don't want it anymore. I had to talk myself back into it at the number they finally moved to that I wanted to buy it for because I convinced myself I don't want to buy this car. And I feel like Dak has gotten himself into a mindset where he doesn't want to stay. He's not going to say it, but he's fine with that. He'll be fine. He has enough money that he will make it to the end of his natural lifespan, however long it might be, with cash left over. And
yep.
I can't remember who it is that said, my aspiration is to run out of all my money the moment I die. But Dak will not. It's a Brewster's Million exercise for Dak Prescott to spend all of his money by the time he dies. So he's fine. And, I saw somebody react last night, one of the mouth breathers on social media. Well, if he snaps his leg, he's not going to get his money. He snapped his leg the last time and got his money.
Yep.
He literally snapped his leg. When he was franchise tagged the first time, he had a compound fracture of the ankle. And before he ever was cleared again to play, he got a 4-year, $160 million contract that was better than Patrick Mahomes' contract because it put him back at the trough for another huge payday in as little as 3 years, and 4 years later, you go to the market unrestricted, unfettered. Could you imagine what Patrick Mahomes would get if he went to the market unrestricted and unfettered? And as we were saying yesterday, Dak Prescott, biggest free agent since Reggie White, the original free agent in 1993. So we just sit back and we wait to see where God tells Dak Prescott to go.
Yeah, and he's going to get his money, Mike. Either the Cowboys are going to give it to him or somebody else is going to give it to him, but he's going to get his money. So, as we talked about yesterday, the Cowboys should have done this deal 2 years ago, or at minimum after last year, but they didn't do that. So they are where they are now. And they've added void years to the end of this contract. So they're going to be paying for Dak on their salary cap for years to come, whether he's on the roster or not.
No, hang on. It's not for years to come. It's $54 million next year. If he leaves.
No, they renegotiated the deal. They renegotiated the deal and added void years. $40 million next year. I
still think once you're gone, we're gonna have to. And look, I know not to have a bet with you because we tried that earlier in the week and it blew up in my face just yesterday with Jacoby Brissett and Drake May. But I think it all now I think it all hits next year. The first year he's gone, it hits, and there's a limited amount of gamesmanship that can play. But we'll look into that and we'll get that answer, and I'll probably be wrong again.
We'll see. But whatever the case, Mike, they have a huge dead cap hit next year, right? So You pay him, you get him paid, you offer him something he can't refuse. You waited too long. You're paying more than you wanted to pay. You obviously didn't want to pay it after 2 years of the contract or 3 years of the contract. And now here you are, and he still might not accept it, but I certainly would put the best offer before him this week, next week, sometime before the season opener, and say, hey, this is where we are. This is our best offer. Take it or leave it. We'll continue to discuss, or we'll discuss at the end of the season or whatever. We don't want to move on from you, but this is our best offer right now. But if I'm the Cowboys, I definitely try that and do what I can to get him signed now and get him under contract, and don't let him hit free agency and leave. And there's a ton of Cowboys fans saying, just leave. Just, do you remember all those quarterbacks they had? Clint Sterner, Quincy Carter, and we can go down, Drew Henson, go down the list to find that. It's just not that easy to find a quarterback that you can win 12 games with in the regular season, 3 consecutive years, and get to the playoffs and have a chance. Yes, they haven't gotten it done in the postseason, but they've had a chance to get it done. So don't you want that chance? If I'm a Cowboys fan, I want that chance to get to the playoffs and have a chance to win it. And they had a great chance last season. They just didn't get it done against the Packers when they should have, but they had a great chance to, at minimum, get to the championship game. They'd already beaten Detroit.
That all assumes that Jerry truly wants that he truly is obsessed with winning more Super Bowls. I still think that that's part of the Carnival Barker routine, the huckster in him that gets the fans to show up and keeps them engaged. And see, that's the thing. You have to convince people you're trying, and the best way you convince people you're trying is if you have a great quarterback. But if you don't want to pay him 60, 65, 70 million per year, then you have to come up with somebody else. And that's where you have to hope that you either bottom out or you can trade up to get Shedeur Sanders. Yeah. Or whoever the top quarterback is coming out of the college ranks in 2025. So this is a mess for the Cowboys. And they're trying to play it cool. I mean, this is a poker game. And you got to have your poker face. And you have to have the attitude that you don't care what happens. And you got good cards. The Cowboys have bad cards. The Cowboys' cards suck. Yeah. Dak Prescott's got all the cards. And Dak Prescott knows he's got all the cards, and he's doing exactly what Jerry Jones would be doing if the circumstances were changed, because Jerry Jones has that gigantic yacht, that $250 million super yacht, because he knows how to capitalize on situations. And it's okay for the owners to be capitalists, but when the players try to be capitalists, oh, you're being selfish. Oh, you have to think of the team. Oh, we only have so many dollars to go around. Tough crap. You figure it out. It's the Peyton Manning approach. My job is to get paid and play quarterback. Your job is to figure out how to handle the salary cap, and that's how it should go. And we'll see. And look, I love a good story. I'm aligned with Jerry Jones. I like stuff that people are interested in. This Dak Prescott story, even without any further negotiations during football season, it is going to continue to hover, and it's going to continue to produce interest until it's finally resolved. Here's one last clip from Dak on whether he'll be distracted once football season gets started because of his unsettled contract situation.
I'm blessed to play this game. I'm getting paid a lot of money to do it. I've already got paid. To get paid again, that's just part of it. That's I'm due up for that, and whether it's signing here, whether it's somewhere else that I don't care to think about at this moment, it's all part of it. And so for me, as I said, it's about controlling what I can, and that's being the best version of myself, best leader, and make sure all these guys in here understand that we're on a mission. It's not about next year right now. It's not about my contract. It's not about anything but getting ready for game 1 against the Browns, and simple as that.
Yeah, and he's done this before. He's done it before. He's been in a contract year with the Cowboys when he was making, I think, $4 million in his 4th year. That's where they first screwed this up because Jerry was being cheap. And then he did it again his franchise tag year, broke his ankle, and still got his massive deal. The one time they woke up and panicked in the Dak Prescott career was when they recognized once we tag him a second time, he walks away after that because we'd have to give him a 44% raise over his second tag for the 3rd year of the tag. So that became the leverage to do the 4-year, $160 million deal and create a palatable cap number and by certainty, yada, yada. but they don't seem to be troubled by that now. That's what's weird about this. The last time around, they were sufficiently troubled by the prospect of Dak walking away to get the deal done. This time around, they don't seem to be bothered by that, even though the cap number's 55. And I do think for next year, the only way those voidable years help them is if they do a new contract and they can freeze those numbers in place. If he's gone, I think that all rushes to the first year after he's gone, because that's happened time and again with other quarterbacks. It doesn't matter. And we would have had more contracts with 4 or 5 phony voidable years if you can smooth out the cap charge. The Bucs took $35 million with Tom Brady. The only way around it was with the Saints and Drew Brees. He retired after June 1, allowing the Saints to have some dead money the year he retired and the rest of it the next year. But that's the reality of having a franchise quarterback. There's always that price to pay on the back end because you kick the can. The first year after he's gone, you're going to have a pretty significant cap number. And the Cowboys are having a very significant cap number this year and a very significant cap number next year, even if he's not on the team.
Well, and Mike, you made a great point in that the Cowboys don't seem troubled by this. They really don't. Dak certainly doesn't. And it's the first time he's talked about, I'll be fine, go elsewhere. And he keeps repeating it. He did again yesterday, talking about he'll play with the Cowboys or he'll play somewhere else. And that's the reality of it. But the Cowboys don't seem troubled by that either. They seem to want to put pressure on this group because all the coaches are in the last year of their contracts. And they just seem like they want to put pressure on them, saying, okay, you have this year, go show us what you can do, and then we'll pay you. Well, there's no guarantees. Mike McCarthy may be fed up. Say they go win a Super Bowl. If I'm Mike McCarthy, I go, see ya. You didn't want to pay me last year. I'm not taking your money this year. I'm going somewhere else. And they all could do that. Dak could do the same thing. You didn't pay me before. I'm out. I'm going to go see what I can get on the open market. If your offer is better than anybody else's, I'll come back. But if it's not, I'm going somewhere else. And the Cowboys just don't seem troubled by that.
Okay, you have a chance to win $1 million in the NBC sweepstakes on Yahoo Fantasy. Just download the redesigned Yahoo Fantasy app or go to NBCSports.com/fantasymillion for additional details. What are you waiting for?
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.